Hello everyone, welcome to D4Drupal channel. Today we are going to see about how to use workflows module in Drupal CMS. By default, Drupal have two states, published and unpublished. So you can make the content published and unpublished. Published can see by uh, anonymous user or any authenticated user, whatever permission we have given. And now we are going to see about the workflow. So workflow gives the content to do the moderation. So like draft to review, review to publish, publish to unpublish, whatever you want, you can do that. So first we have to go to the configuration. The module is coming from code, that is workflows module, and that is enabled already. So here I'm going to create a new workflow, basic page workflow, and this is a content moderation, and save it. Here by default it gives two states. I'm going to add new state as a review. So this published option represents that when the content reaches state, people will consider that as a published content. Okay, so I don't want to make the content published and this state, so I'm not enabling this radio button, and that will be considered as a default revision. You just always make this enable when the published option is enabled, and save it and rearranging. And in the transition, so by default draft means from draft to draft. I don't want to move again back from published to draft. And next here published. So published will be happen only from review. Save. So here draft to draft you can enable it. Let me enable that. Draft to draft. And next transition will be draft to review. So this is the transition we created. So from draft to draft it will be, or draft to review. Once it is reviewed, that will be moved to published. Once it is published, again if you say it will take you to the published state. And here content type, I'm going to select the basic page here and save it. And when the content is created for the first time, what state should be assigned? That is a draft state. And save. And create basic page. The content is draft content. Draft. And save it. So now the content is draft. And the content is not published. You can edit draft to review, and the revision log draft to review. So I'm changing this to review from here and save. Now the content is saved. When you go to the revision, you can see this is the draft and this is the draft revision. And again when you edit, now it is published. Published in the sense that is the published revision. Now what will happen, just see. Now the content is draft review published. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit it. So let me add one more transition so that we can showcase one feature. I'm going to make a new change. So published in new draft. From published also the content can be moved to draft. I'm just changing this. So from published the content can be moved to draft here. So you have a draft option now. From published, again we are changing this to draft. Okay. And then same revision. And then saving it. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm confused. So we didn't change the state. Draft it should be. Okay. And save it. Now the content is unpublished. And when you go to the revision, you can see we made the content published on this state. So here I added by mistake, we resaved it twice. That's why the draft is coming. So we made the content last revision was this place. That's why the current revision is this. And here, this is the draft revision. Here we enabled the published option, not here in the states. We enable published option on this published state. That's why that comes in the current revision, which means anonymous can see the content in this version. So whatever version they are updating, like draft, or again review. So until whatever they do, all the upcoming changes will not be available for user. Only these changes will be available. So here, once the content is published after 2-3 edits, again this current revision will be moved to the latest, which when we made the again published state. So if you don't understand, let me show you. So you see the content. So here you can see. So let me. This might be confusing a little. Okay, let me do one more thing. So let me publish this. Don't think all this. Okay, let me publish and then show you again. So until this, the content is published. Okay. So here, revisions. So this is, don't think about all these revisions. So here the content is published and the published version with the content of draft review published. Again, I'm going to edit and I'm going to make this to draft. And here it will be draft and save. So this is the latest version. So you can see here latest version. If you delete and enter, you can see draft review published. Okay, here you can see the published version of the content, but the actual content was this. Actual content is when you edit the draft one, the draft is added. But when you view the content, you couldn't see the draft because the content is published on this stage and the current state of the content is draft. And here also you can see what I'm going to do now again. I'm going to make this to review, draft to review and save it. So this is the latest version which is not published. When you refresh, it will be the same draft review published because the content with the 2 new revision, those are not published. Only the published version content will be stick to the anonymous. When you edit it again, and now I'm going to publish it. Published, save, and refresh. Now the content is updated because again the content is published with some edit. And when you go to the revision, now the current revision will be moved from this place to this place. So that's why you have to set the published option in your state configuration. And this is how the workflow works. You can create a number of states like unpublished, archive, whatever you want, you can create and do the workflow content moderation. And here by default, when you install Drupal CMS, you have a mail kit. So it will come by default. You just have to hit the URL with 8026. This will be coming. So this is used when you do the development. You don't need to configure SMTP or something to check the mails. By default, whatever mail is coming out from this Drupal site, all will be triggered to this mailbox. So you don't have to fill your personal mail ID or whatever for testing purpose. For that, I have enabled the module called content moderation notification in extend browse modules. So this is the module I just enabled. This is a contrib module. You just have to come and install it. It is already installed. And here you have to give the configuration. So I'm going to create a new notification. So when the content is draft to review, I'm going to trigger a mail, and that is for basic page workflow. Transition is on which transition trigger this notification. So that is for review. So which means that the transition we have in this workflow, right? Create new draft, review published. These three. Create new draft, review published. Those three transitions are here. So you have to select. So when the content is review, I just want to send the author, only for author, or if you want to enable any roles, you can enable. So disable if you don't want to send site email ID. So you can select whatever the field value you can add. You can add subject or draft to review. And save it. Create a notification. Draft to review. What the same name already exists. So I'm just okay. This is for basic page workflow enabled, and mail will be triggered to the author and draft to review state. Now I'm going to create a. So we already have content now. Let me move that to draft again and save, and again edit it, and now change this to a review. So before that, you can see there is no mail here. So I'm going to change from draft to review and save. And here you can see the mail is triggered. And the subject what we have gave, draft to review and draft to review. So this is how you can configure the content moderation notification. So all mail will be triggered based upon the settings whatever you do. So if you want to enable SMTP, and you enable the SMTP configuration as per your need, and you can do the notification. And that's it about today's video. If you like the video, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.